Thank you guys so much for keeping it beautifully flawed. And of course, I'm your girl RB. Now this is the look that we have today. I am loving this golden look, and I'm continuing a series of 2 shadows. Just 2 shadows on the eyes. Just 2 shadows, ladies. So if you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. Leave a girl a like and of course a comment. Share so your friend who has a friend who has a friend can actually see what's happening and jump on over and get on board as well. Now ladies, let me remind you, don't forget to rock them flaws, honey. And until we meet again, just continue straight on in to the video to see this look. Bye. Hey ladies, so jumping on in, I'm actually using the NYX Ultra Bright, and the reason I chose this, I wanted to show you ladies that you don't have to use high-end products to get your looks. I was there, I saw these influencers and I thought I had to get all these high-end products, but you don't have to. Alright, so enough of that. So what I'm doing now is I'm going straight on in, and I will be packing that dark yellow there in the crease, just packing it in because I'm building it up. So remember from the previous video before, we're packing and we're blending out and we're building up. This is to give the illusion, of course, that we have not 1 but probably 2 or more shadows in our crease area, and also have a transition color, but we don't. Yes, I'm going on with a clean, fluffy blending brush, and I'm just taking that to the very end of my shade and I'm blowing it out. This is to get it blended at the end and also take it up a bit to my brow bone. Again guys, we're about using just 1 shade to give you a light to a dark sort of gradient effect. And I'll be doing this back and forth until I see the result of the blend that I'm looking for. And guys, let me also say, please do not be distracted by the glass, the window that's behind me, because it's reflecting what's happening beyond my camera. It was really a poor choice of background selection, and I tell you, I literally did not recognize this until it was too late. I set myself up in a way that I can tell you it just slipped me. But as I said, don't be distracted. Alright, so I'm using my beloved Real Techniques Deluxe Crease Brush, and I'm just going on in, because it's a yellow shadow, I'll be using a light yellow. I really want it to pick up well on my lid, so I'm going on in with a light concealer. It's not toffee, it's just a regular concealer that I have in my, that I bought rather some time ago at my local beauty store. So I'm using this to give me some lid space to work with and giving my lid a lighter shade to apply that light yellow, because a too dark of a concealer or base is not going to give you the pop that you're looking whenever you're dealing with colors like yellows, light pinks. Once it's like pastel looking shades, you'll need a light base to work with. Alright, so just using that. Again, I'm not doing a cut crease, so I tend to use this method to clean up my lid space or to lay down my I don't know what's happening, or to lay down my eyeshadow. So a point to note, guys, whenever you're laying down your lids, your lid color and you want it to pop, I always mist my brush. I use water setting spray, whichever one, because they both do work for me. So I tend to use that just to get my brush wet, and it picks up my shadows great, and I get a beautiful payoff. So I'm just using that to lay down, of course, that lid shade, laying it down, pressing it in, and also to get the ends of it blended back into that first shade that I'd gone on in with. Now, I know I'll be repeating the back and forth with this, but I just want you ladies to see, however long it takes, I'm not saying forever though, but however long it takes for you to get the best blend, do it. I promise you it's going to be worth it. I will say though, I will be big enough to say I had to go on an extra with on my right eye as it relates to blending it out, because I realized that I did not properly blend out my concealer, so it dried on here, the parts are pulling through, so it dried with that harsh edge, and that is what you don't want. So I'm going to say this to you ladies, so you don't repeat that mistake that I made. You want to move quick so the edge of your concealer is properly blended out, so at the end of it, it's not too harsh, and you won't have to take as long as I had to do to get it blended out. And I wanted to keep it in here. I didn't want to edit it out because I wanted to be able to explain it to you guys and use it as an example for you. Alright, so enough of that part. So what I'm doing now is I decided to use a black Radiance brown. It's not a black, it's a brown liquid liner. Off camera, it looks really nice. It really complements the yellows. It really does a good job of complementing the yellow. So that's what I am doing, giving myself a slight wing, not too much of a wing, because though it's yellow, I don't want anything too dramatic beyond the color that I'm using. So that's all that I'm doing, laying that shadow, the eyeliner down, as you can see. And again, it's not a black one, it's actually a brown, and if you want to try it, you can definitely go ahead, because it looked really, really nice. So for those who don't know as yet, I'm using an oil primer. I do have dry skin, and so I tend to use this. I like the fact that it moisturizes my skin, and my makeup glides on really, really smooth whenever I use this. Again, it's really, really affordable. It's S.HE makeup hydrating oil primer. That's what it is. Of course, I don't think I was listening to any music. I was just being my regular self, which is for the most part crazy, but y'all will get to see that as time goes by. All right, so it's foundation time. As you can see, laying down my now regular Kiss foundation. It's a liquid Pro Touch foundation, that's what it's called, and I'm just laying that foundation into my skin. Now, this is not a full coverage foundation. I've said this before in videos before. It's not full coverage, it is buildable, but for me, I don't have a lot of blemishes hiding, so I tend to just use one layer. Now for this step, ladies, I'm not going to say to you that it is necessary, but as part of my makeup routine, foundation routine, I never skip this step. I've said this before, but I'm going to continue saying it. The reason I choose to use a damp blender, it literally gives me that airbrush finish. If there's any excess product on skin, it literally takes it away and pushes the remainder of my foundation into skin and gives me that flawless finish. Of course, I'm going on in with my LA Girl Pro Conceal in the shade Toffee. Now, ladies, all products used will be in the description. I try to make sure that I put everything in the description. So if you want to find any particular product that I've used, you can always check in the description. All right, so of course, laying down the concealer in the areas that I want to highlight, and of course under eye, it's not only highlighting, but of course it's concealing, because I do have dark circles. I will one day show you guys another routine, like that snatched routine. For now, regular makeup, I literally don't always go snatched, but I do enough to get me that flawless beat. But I promise to make you guys a video where I'll go through some more steps where you can actually see when I color correct on all those and all that. Now, ladies, I'm going to touch on the point of flashback. Now, I know I said this in the previous video, but I didn't get to tell you this, and if you haven't yet done so, you can actually go back to my video before this one. In order to prevent you from getting any flashback, you want to make sure the shade of your concealer that you're using for your highlighting, you want to make sure that it's not too far off from your complexion. You can go a shade, probably a shade that is lighter, a shade or two shades lighter than you, but nothing too drastic. Now, if you do anything outside of this, it's going to be too much product coming down on your face, and most of your face will look white. And of course, it also has to do with a very, very, very good setting powder that is not flashback enemy. Why am I losing my words? But I hope you understand what exactly it is that I'm trying to say to you. All right, I use the Sasha Buttercup, but I use it in moderation. I don't go overboard, and that's the reason I tell you I don't bake. Maybe because of my complexion, but baking doesn't work for me. If it does for you, that is perfectly fine. But as you can see, I'm laying down my Sasha Buttercup, and this is done in areas where I lay down my concealer. Alright, so you want to make sure you set those areas. If not, honey, those areas are gonna be oily. Your makeup is just not gonna be looking, beaten. It's gonna look as if somebody threw you in a fight and you came out all sweaty. Now I'm using this brush by Jeffree Star, and I will say it's not my favorite. I'm not liking the bristles, aren't densely packed. I don't know, but yeah, I'm not really a fan of it. But however, as I said before, I'm just using it to blend out and to press in the product into my skin and removing any excess setting powder. Going on in with that trusty black Radiance that I always use. It's a powdered contour palette in shade dark to deep, and I'm doing the fish face to get that perfect shape. Doing the fish face gets me the perfect shape as it relates to my contouring. See that? It hugs it hugs the curve of my cheekbone without coming too high. You can always use that trick. I use it, I won't say all the time, but whenever I get the chance to, I do so. And of course, as I said, I was just entertaining myself. I was just feeling myself doing what I was doing. And I'm, of course, using a bit of that contour shade along my jawline. I always go around my chin. And of course, just blending it out so it is perfect. So I've just been using the James Charles to do the bronzing, but guess what? I can't do my lashes. I was like, no, and yeah, that's right. So as I said, that's just me being me. So I'm going on into the cheeks. This is going to blend. This is going to act like a transitioning from the highlight under eye. Then I have this brown orangey type shade, and then it goes directly down to that dark shade. I always love the look of it, and so I pretty much never miss this step. Always use my James Charles for that particular reason. So I'm using my Ruby Kiss mineral powder in shade Cognac, and I'm going to be using that directly below my contour shade, and I'll be going around the perimeters of my face, and without adding any excess product, I will be pressing it in to my highlighted areas. I always do this, and it's without adding any excess product. I think it just blends it in, and I also use it to press the product in. And if there's any extra shade, or if it's too light under my eyes or my highlighted areas, it just tones it down a bit. Always works for me. So if my highlighted areas, which I know would look a bit bright before this, it always just tones it down for me. Of course, this step is going on into the nose, and I'm using an angled shader brush to do that nose contour. Now this is a MAC. I will say I wanted the perfect gold. I don't think I had any perfect gold in my palette, and this is a MAC gold eyeshadow. It's not a highlighter, it's an eyeshadow. And ladies, I'm being honest with you, my son was a bit fussy, so I had to have him in my hand. So I'm going to be looking a bit awkward here. It's going to take me a bit longer than it necessarily needed to do the makeup. This see, that's me looking down at him doing what mothers should do. Okay, he needed to be fed. All right, so yes, so I'm just using that to get me the perfect golden look, and I don't think I had any highlighter that could give me what I was looking for, so I used my eyeshadow. And ladies, let this also be an advice to you. Don't worry about having to have everything that you see, because I can tell you, there are times when I didn't do makeup because I thought I didn't have what I saw others having. Use what you have and make the most of it. And that's what I did. I'm just making the most of what I had, which was an eyeshadow. It doesn't necessarily have to be MAC, and I didn't even purchase it. It was actually a gift given to me. All right, so if you don't have a MAC, use whatever you have. Don't always think you need to use what others are using. And this I'll be using on my lips. I'm just trying to perfect. I'm a lefty by nature. I do use my right hand to do some things, but it was a bit awkward. So as I said, I will be taking a bit longer than necessary, but I just didn't want to skip anything. I wanted you ladies to see all that I did. So I'm going to use my Jordana, of course, retractable pencil in Lavish brown, and that's the exact thing. It's an eyeliner. I use it as my brow pencil, and I'm using it as my lip liner. What I'll be doing is I'll be outlining my lip. And after doing so, I'll use my finger to blend it in. Alright, so I will say a step that I missed that I advise you not to miss is I did not hydrate my lips by applying my lip balm before I started my foundation. I didn't, and I'm being honest with you. So you'll see my tongue snaking out to touch my top and my bottom lips, but it's something that I try not to miss, but I did. But I'm just saying, don't miss. Alright, so I'm using a Dust Pink. It's by Ruby Kiss. I love this shade. I always like using it with like a dark brown liner. It works really nice for me. I really like the combination. Because I have my son in hand, I wasn't able to use my fingers, because I normally use my fingers to blend the shades into each other. Really couldn't get to do so, but I still tried, and that pretty much did the job. You know, smacking and rubbing my lips together did the job, blended it perfect. So just spraying my face down, making sure it's not too close to disrupt my foundation. And doing this also takes down the powder, causes the powder to melt into your skin. Promise you this much. So it removes that powdery look and give you a refined end result.